This is a Canada Foundation for Innovation podcast.
Hello, and welcome to 10,000 Ways. This is a podcast about curious researchers, leading-edge science, and the joys of discovery.
I'm Leyla Soleymani, Associate Professor in Engineering Physics and School of Biomedical Engineering at McMaster. My research is focused on biosensors for point-of-care and rapid diagnostics.
Our podcast gets its name from Thomas Edison, who said, "I have not failed. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that will not work."
I work on rapid diagnostics, so we work on things that look like the glucose monitor, but it can do a lot more. It's a reader that you can use multiple times with disposable cartridges.
Leyla Soleymani's soft voice reveals her natural humility. But don't be fooled, her research speaks loudly. Early in her career, she focused on biosensors. The first wearable, non-invasive biosensor was brought to market in 2000. The Gluco Watch was designed to help people with diabetes evaluate their blood sugar or glucose levels. Biosensors have evolved considerably since that time, and Leyla now finds herself at the forefront of this research.
People now have an understanding of the importance of rapid tests, as everybody's has used a rapid COVID test. But there's a lot more you can do with these tests, right? You can monitor cancer, cardiovascular diseases. You can create wearable sensors, right? Wearable patches that can look at markers of interest and monitor people's health. So say, after exercising, certain levels of certain biomolecules in your body change very quickly. So you can't really study that with our current tools. I mean, it's possible, but it's difficult to study that. But these new tools, these patches that monitor sweat, they could be patches that actually go and penetrate your skin by, less than a millimeter and look at interstitial fluid. And so we've built a lot of these tools in vitro, so outside the body. And we have made some materials that we think will work really well with those non-invasive samples in the body.
Leyla has mentioned a few terms which might be unfamiliar. For example,
Interstitial fluid surrounds the cell. It's made up of water, sugars, and a bunch of other stuff. This is where you will find biomarkers.
A biomarker is a sign of a normal or abnormal process, or of a condition or disease. Off the top, Leyla also talked about COVID and rapid tests. Currently, she's trying to develop a new type of bacteria-identifying rapid test for urinary tract infections. Elderly people are particularly prone to these type of infections, and what you may not know is that this type of infection can also contribute to dementia. And I think you'll agree, this isn't something we want to see in our loved ones.
So if you want to detect urinary tract infection, normally you have to wait, hours for the results to come back because you have to grow the bacteria. But our rapid tests allow us to do this in minutes. We're using things that look like the glucose sensors, so they're electrical. We use chips, and these are, computer chips, but for biological applications, let's say. So we use these chips to do our measurements. So all the signals that I talked about, whether it's a sensor that's outside the body, it interfaces with the body. It's a credit card size reader.
Leyla's love for everything engineered and minuscule and nano was not attributable to a single flick of the inspirational switch at a Take Your Kids to Work day, or one unique and influential high school mentor. It was rather, as is fitting an engineer, a very logical path, where the practical generated the passion.
I think it came for me in the opposite order. I first became an engineer, then I noticed that I liked it, because I think everybody I know was an engineer around me. So I decided to be an engineering for that reason, but also because I was good at math and physics, and it seemed like a natural fit. If you like, math and physics, then you go to, mechanical or electrical engineering. And then once I did my bachelor's degree, I realized that I really like the possibilities that is in front of me. I guess I was the first female professor in my department, and until very recently, engineering was and has been a male-dominated profession. But I think there's also opportunities now to change that perception and to communicate the message that engineering is for everyone.
Behind every researcher success story, there's usually a mentor. It's not difficult to tell why Leyla selected her particular PhD mentor. This mentor works out of the University of Toronto. She's been recognized as one of Canada's top 40 under 40. She's also been recognized as a top 100 innovator by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Review, and she is the holder of a modest 50 patents.
I've had great mentors. I'll talk about one, also a female mentor, Professor Shana Kelly, that really helped me reach my goals during my PhD, and it was really inspiring because she also had a great career. She did it all. She was a professor. She was a great researcher. She still is, and she's not going anywhere. And she started a company, at multiple companies, now that were focused on translating some of these rapid diagnostics to the market. And she did all of that, and she was a new mom at the time, and I think that was just kind of having that mentor and that experience firsthand to see somebody who's doing it all, even though it sounds cliche, but it really helps me every day to try to do something impactful, and try to also have have a family life as well.
While Leyla remarks that Shana seems to be doing it all, Leyla isn't exactly sitting around at the lab bench and waiting for eureka moments. For example, Leyla and her colleagues from McMaster University have just announced the development of a new form of rapid test to detect infections in farm animals, responding to the rising threat of dangerous outbreaks, particularly in pigs. This nanotechnology just requires a small sample of pig's spit or saliva to detect the chemical markers for infection. For real appreciation of this discovery, just consider your favorite summertime rib fest, without the ribs, or more seriously, the potential impact of disease on 7,600 Canadian pork farmers. The discovery of this rapid test only touches on Leyla's innovative mindset. Consider the discovery of a product called Repel Wrap. Repel Wrap is super hydrophobic, hydro meaning water, and phobic meaning aversion. It's sort of like raindrops beating and then rolling off the leaves of a plant.
It's interesting because when you asked me what I do, I didn't even talk about Repel Wrap, and I talked about most of the diagnostic work we do. Although Repel Wrap has made huge headlines. So Repel Wrap is a plastic wrap that repels contamination. So it could be liquid contaminations, or it could be pathogenic contamination like bacteria or viruses. We have started a company, and the first product that it's going to appear as is a coating for what we call high touch surfaces. So surfaces that throughout a day. Lots of people will touch it and can be a source of transmission of infectious diseases, for example. Future products are, medical tubing, medical devices that need to stay clean inside the body or even outside the body.
One of the problems seen in earlier iterations of biosensors was that while they captured the molecules they were targeting, they also captured non-targeted proteins, and this gummed up the minuscule sensor points. To improve the efficiency, the researchers needed to find something to fight these sticky proteins they dubbed biofouling. Their solution, Repel Wrap, was the result of a collective effort. Leyla worked with researchers like Tawhid Didar, who has been a trusted collaborator for many, many years. Ted Sargent, a nanotech prof out of the University of Toronto, has provided consistent encouragement and motivation. But equally important to Leyla are the ongoing contributions made by her McMaster student protégés, who consistently provide equal parts perspiration and inspiration.
A lot of it has to do for me working with talented students. They come up with remarkable ideas, and the nice thing about this job is that we can actually do it, and we don't have to really worry about whether this fits, go outside the box. It doesn't have to totally make sense in the beginning, right? We can explore things, we can experiment with things, we can discover things without knowing exactly where this is fitting, right? It doesn't have to be in a company product line, from the beginning. We have the ability to explore and be creative and kind of follow our curiosities, and to really focus on the creative aspect of engineering more so than kind of the perception that is a lot of the perception that goes with like building and assembling things. It's the more I see it, it's as a design and designing things and creating things. So every scientist to really make a change has to think outside the box at some point and say, okay, we want to go from point A to B, we want to achieve this. This is the way that everybody else is doing it. But, we really need a breakthrough in order to do that faster, do that, cheaper, do that, improve stability, all of those things. You need to just sometimes break out of how everybody else does it and just find a new creative way.
Our podcast, 10,000 Ways, takes its name from a quote or concept attributed to prolific American inventor Thomas Edison. He may have been talking about light bulbs or maybe batteries. While the exact area of research may be open to speculation, what is not open to discussion are his continued efforts to persevere and experiment long after the time when others may have considered their efforts a failure.
In the scientific community, you get a lot of rejection. You wake up with a rejection letter in your inbox every day from a journal, from a grant, from an award. If you look in the shorter term at your career, you have these periods of failure and success, and then failure and then success. So I try to remember that these things are cyclical, right? Like you just kind of have to push through this cycle of failure to get through what's called success. But I think when you look over a longer term, right, a decade or so, looking back, those, on average, you feel like the average of that failure success is not zero, right? It's the average is above zero. You are making important contributions, and in overall you are successful. But I think it's hard to deal with those periods of failure, and And I've had a lot of great mentors that, I've talked to and said, I just cannot get this thing to work. I just cannot get this research to fund. I cannot get this funded. And, they've always been just there to remind me of their own kind of periods of failure, and it's always remind me that these people are my inspiration, my mentors. If they've gone through these and they're overall so successful, then you just kind of have to get through this.
At some point in time, we may ask ourselves, how do I want to be remembered? What do I want to leave behind? These can be challenging questions, but they are questions with a limitless number of very personal possibilities. One of Leyla's wishes starts with peer recognition.
As scientists, and I can tell you, we write a lot of papers, and that's great. We want to publish, and we want to publish great papers, and we want people to read them. And we do that. But I think one thing that I really want to happen before, a legacy, is for me to be able to point to something, a product. It's a reality. You can point to it and say, oh, I worked that, I developed that. It's a product that everybody knows right now, right? So I'm hoping that there would be, a commercial product that I could say, okay, this is something I developed. When Repel Wrap was first published and generated news, I never had this where people from so many different sectors were writing to me and wanting to buy this, right? I mean, we were at a proof of concept stage, and people were, they wanted from the hospitality sectors, from transportation, farmers, you name it, hospitals. They were messaging me and said, we want to buy this thing. How do we get our hands on this? And so that's where I knew that, there's something there that people want, and maybe this is it. Maybe this is that product that I would want to kind of leave behind as a legacy.
Many years ago, there was a group of authors who called themselves the Inklings. Perhaps you've heard of some of them: J.R.R. Tolkien, or maybe C.S. Lewis. What made this group unique was that they would gather once a week, read some of their new works, and then open themselves up to a group review. It turns out, Lord of the Rings was not a singular effort created by one introvert in isolation. It was a group effort, a sum effort greater than an individual part. Leyla has also adopted this philosophy of augmented collaboration.
I think it's something that's not necessarily coming easy to me, but it's something that I've learned to do over the past few years, and that's to collaborate effectively with other scientists. I think it took me a while to learn that, to find people that we can work together, creatively. We have complementary expertise, and when we get together, 1 + 1 becomes more than 2, right? Just the sum of our efforts is more than the actual sum. So I think that's something that I've learned, and I think to surround myself with great collaborators, to learn to gain their respect, to respect them, and for us to work on things that we think it's fun to do, but it's also really important, and I think that's helped me a lot over the past few years to do great research and try to be to stand out, I guess.
Success. What does success mean for you? Here's what would work for Leyla.
It's been hard for me to think, how do I define my own success versus other people defining my success? And right now, I think the way I see it is I'm as successful as my students are. So I really measure my success based on their success. If I'm training students who are, becoming professors, starting their own labs, I have students who biotech companies are fighting over to hire them. They're doing really impactful stuff. Some are becoming entrepreneurs. I think I measure my success based on, how if I'm taking part in it, I feel like if I've done a good job training them, this is really what I could be proud of in my career.
Leyla's contribution to training young researchers is not all she has to be proud of. The discoveries she's made and products she's helped develop will have a legacy of their own. In 2020, Repel Wrap beat out more than 700 entries from over 60 countries to win the Create the Future Design Contest, sponsored by Tech Briefs magazine. Repel Wrap has been dubbed pathogenic Teflon. Its surface texture mimics, to a great extent, that of the lotus leaf, but it is more than just super hydrophobic, it is almost everything phobic. Add some ripples to the wrap, along with a little chemistry on top, and the end result is that almost nothing sticks. What does stick is the importance of collaboration. J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and 17 of their peers gathered weekly for decades to help create literary works that were greater than the sum of the parts. Leyla and her collaborators also gather, and the ideas they generate, from keeping pigs healthy to pathogenic Teflon, will continue to make an impact. In closing, Joseph Henry was an American physicist. In one simple quote, he summarizes the power of persistence, collaboration, and opportunities found in chance occurrence. This is what he said. The seeds of great discovery are constantly floating around, but they only take root in the minds of those well prepared to receive them.
"10,000 Ways" is produced in the studios of the Canada Foundation for Innovation.
The CFI is a non-profit corporation that invests in research infrastructure at Canadian universities, colleges, research hospitals, and non-profit research institutions. 2022 is our 25th anniversary, and over the course of the last 25 years, we've funded over 12,000 projects and contributed more than $9 billion in infrastructure funding. If you're curious to learn more about the CFI, then please visit innovation.ca. That's INNOVATION.ca. My name is Greg Pillsworth. We'll let the music play out, and thanks very much for listening. Bye-bye.